Hey Beatles fans, my name is Nicolle and I am your alternative Beatles girl. I'm 15 years old and I live in the United States. I've been a Beatles fan since 2007 and the first Beatles album I ever got was Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, and I got it in the year 2007. And that was the 40th anniversary of Pepper. And so there were all kinds of Beatles things everywhere. The album was on sale. There was a magazine for Guitar World celebrating the 40th anniversary that I went ahead and bought along with the album. And it was awesome. I read it all the time. I can't believe I can't find it now. My favorite Beatle is Paul McCartney. My second favorite is John Lennon. Sometimes they swap, but it's usually Paul. I have another YouTube account called Nicolle with 2 L's. I'll put a link below in the description, so please go ahead and subscribe to that too. So since when I'm not here posting videos, you can go check me out on my other channel. I'm going to say what every single Beatles fan says. My room is a Beatles museum, and let me show you why. Welcome to the museum, and let me give you the full tour. You see here is the typical door with Pokemon and Doctor Who and Harry Potter. But as you go up, Beatles! And if you go to the side, it's my Beatles thing. Yeah. There's them in Washington, D.C. in 1964. There's John, the day he got his first driver's license in 1965. He's in George Martin's car. And here's my Beatles triangle, I call it. My Beatles money. Replica of a signed Beatles photograph. Pretty cool, right? Sorry, my lamp is like shining over John's face. You may notice over here, this is from a Beatles calendar that I had. That once the calendar ended, I cut it all up, made a Beatles wall. A Beatles card that I got. And over here, we have because I'm a weirdo, I have a Christmas ornament that's out. And it's the Beatles Yellow Submarine. And then we have a Beatles candle over here. I know, I'm really, really weird. We have some Beatles buttons. Like this is actually from the 60s. Beatles Forever. And then we have some more Beatles cards. These are from the 60s, bubblegum packs. Here's a picture that somebody drew from the White Album. Over here we have actual Beatles cake toppers. This was actually from the early 70s. We have Beatles Yellow Submarine action figures. Over here you may notice kisses on the bottom. So let me show you which Beatles albums I have. I have the Beatles 65, the Beatles live at the BBC with the Beatles, Rubber Soul, the Beatles introducing England's #1 vocal group. Guess what? This is a rare Beatles album. We have Let It Be, the Beatles' last album, the White Album. Now I only have 2 out of the I believe was 5 photographs total, but I only have 2. I have John Lennon and Mr. Ringo Starr. Finally, I have Magical Mystery. And there's one other that's not really an official Beatles album. I mean, I have the Beatles solo albums, so let me show you them. McCartney, Paul McCartney's first solo album released in the year 1970. Back to the Egg. We have, in my opinion, the best solo album by any Beatle. Band Down the Way. I'm not going to sing for you all. I'm sorry. John Lennon's last album, released when he was alive. Double Fantasy. Imagine by John Lennon. I got a protective cover with it because it's very, very important. If you don't know, for all my Beatles monkeys and Badfinger fans out there, that you can actually see the picture. Let me pull up the picture for you. Oh. Okay, let me find them on here. There's one. Yep. If you didn't know this, Tommy Evans of Badfinger in the year 1970, while Badfinger was still together, and Joey Mullen of Badfinger helped work on this album, while Pete went over, and I believe Mike did it too, went over and helped George Harrison with one of his solo albums that was released in the same year. Did I say 1970? 1972. Released in the same year, called, I don't know if you may have heard of this, hopefully you have, called All Things Must Pass. Okay, so I have in fact one more Beatles album, and this is, not many Beatles fans have seen this. George Martin and his orchestra play health and other instrumental versions of Beatles songs by their brilliant recording director. This album, if you don't know, George Martin, not only with being a music producer, he also had his own orchestra, and they played on Yesterday. He's right here if you don't know who George Martin is, or yeah. And so he got together compilations and composed his own instrumental orchestra versions of famous Beatles songs. It's more evident and more noticeable on side 2 is some of the original Beatles songs had working titles before. Like for Yesterday, you know, it was Scrambled Eggs originally. Well, there were more that not many, well, maybe Beatles fans know about it, but it's just kind of an interesting fact for you all. Like, for example, Yesterday, you know, Scrambled Eggs. That's a Nice Cap was originally called It's Only Love. And Aunt Jen's theme was I Just Seen a Face. So that's pretty interesting that he used, if you notice on the back cover, it lists the original names for the songs, but on the actual LP, it lists the recorded names. Don't forget to check out my other channel. Hopefully you'll like to watch my videos on there, because I do some covers of songs. There's actually one of me doing a solo of something from the Beatles' Abbey Road album, and I have some original songs on there and some videos, and I hope you come and check it out while I'm not on here. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. Bye!